From lockdown to social breakdown. Ultimately, do we get the governments that we deserve? I have been critical of the lockdown from the beginning, for many reasons, not least because our social fabric is already weakened and freedoms balancing on a tightrope. But how lovely. A single grand idea to solve all of our problems, backed up with the threat of arrest or even violence. As our sense-making mechanisms continue to fail us, it is easy to feel nihilistic. A few months ago, I asked, will coronavirus change us? Many thought not. Now, many think it almost certainly will. I am not fatalistic. It could go multiple ways, but the space to which we now reside in reminds me of this wonderful word, liminality. In anthropology, liminality, from the Latin word limen, meaning a threshold, is a quality of ambiguity or disorientation that occurs in the middle stage of a rite of passage, when participants no longer hold their pre-ritual status, but have not yet begun the transition to the status they will hold when the rite of passage is complete. During the rite's liminal stage, participants stand at the threshold between their previous way of structuring their reality, identity, time, and community, and a new way, which completing the rite establishes. The question must now be asked, will we move towards a technological dystopia, as the government now has new and far-reaching powers to intrude into the most intimate, most precious and personal aspects of our lives? As we surrender freedom of speech, is there now no realm of being free from government intrusion? As millions more are now dependent on the state to live, eat and survive, some might say, surely, you cannot bite the hand that feeds you. Or we will move towards a new era of freedom, as the smothering stillness of the lockdown brings forth a new appreciation of liberty, as the nastiness, weakness of the nanny state laid bare, exposed in all of its fraud and fragility, will a renewed political consciousness emerge? Many will blame external factors, the media, the electoral system, etc., for the outcome that lies ahead. But, as we saw with Brexit, ultimately, the people vastly outnumber the establishment. If, for only one day, we cease sending money, attention and praise to these false gods, the facade dissipates. But where will we find meaning, truth and identity, you ask? By daring to be free. It does not have to be the majority, but a critical mass to awaken the slumbering spirit lying dormant in our collective psyche. Carl Jung said, the psychology of the individual is reflected in the psychology of the nation. Only a change in the attitude of the individual can initiate a change in the psychology of the nation. The great problems of humanity were never yet solved by general laws. As Etienne de la Boétie said in the Discourse on Voluntary Servitude, from all of these indignities, such as the very beasts of the field, you can deliver yourselves if you try, not by taking action, but merely by willing to be free. Resolve to serve no more, and you are at once freed. I don't ask that you place hands upon the tyrant to topple him over, but simply that you support him no longer. Then you will behold him, like a great colossus, whose pedestal has been pulled away, fall on his own weight and break into pieces. The government, the institutions can only take us so far. Look at the universities. Look at the social media companies, the technocratic class, all trapped in systems of incentivization, all deficient in accountability, all unable to grapple with the scope and scale of transformation that awaits us. There is a lot of truth in the conspiracy narrative. As the establishment world falls apart, But ultimately, only when we, the people, view ourselves not solely as recipients of reality, but also as the arbiters, as the meaning makers, will higher meaning and truth become clearer.